Adam may have won, but it was a very hollow victory. Reki was grinning ear to ear, surrounded by people who loved and cared about him. Adam was on the floor with no one cheering his name, and right before his victory, we're laughing at how pathetic he was. Reki just had his ultimate chance to shine, and I've seen so many people say they want to see Reki really have a moment to shine outside of his connection to Langa. Well, here it is. Langa was the one rooting Reki on this entire time, and at first, I was like, is there any real reason why Reki should want to go up against Adam? He's scared of him. But when you really think about where we left off with Langa and Reki last week, Reki has rediscovered the love for skateboarding. He's no longer scared, he simply views skateboarding as fun, and even though he can't keep up with people like Langa, Cherry, Joe, or even Adam, he has his own skill set. He knows how to design boards that are custom, and the fact that it was raining the night before gave him good indication that it might rain the following day. So if he has different wheels that are slower for dry ground, if it does start to pour, he'll have an advantage over someone like Adam. To see an episode like this where realistically had Reki won, it would have been a victory not because he was more skilled than Adam skateboarding, but because he got lucky with the weather and customizing his board. But it didn't feel like a hollow victory for Reki either, because he was giving it his all. He was countering the love hug, he was doing everything and holding on for dear life, and even attempting shit that only Langa has been able to do in this show. While sure, it's a little absurd seeing a guy get dragged across a wall or doing these flips mid-air that I'm like, man, he's not wearing a helmet, he's gonna die if he falls. This show has been absurd. It has been the WWE of skateboarding anime, and Tony Hawk would have it no other way. This show has been so damn fun, and the way Adam wins, I think it works. Personally, by the end of the episode, I actually thought Reki was going to win, but I like the idea of what's probably going to happen next week is it will be Adam versus Langa, but that prosecutor, right? That person investigating who now has a search warrant, even if she doesn't bust down the skating match, Langa's probably going to win, and even if Langa doesn't beat Adam, Adam's victory is going to come with an arrest. I'm good. I am ecstatic, and it really does feel like this show has been one damn complete package, and with one episode left to go, there's a lot of possibilities they can go next week, but I feel like with having Reki really shine in this episode, showing his creativity with board making, the fact that Langa's training wheels have officially come off, he's not going to be tied down to his board anymore, or have those foot grips just in case he needs to. It feels like this show has really done a great job with not only the main cast with Langa and Reki, but also its side cast. I still think Mia has had the least amount of kind of chances to shine, but for a character who was abandoned for his skateboarding skills because no one could keep up, I think he's done a great job at incorporating himself into the cast as well. And to just see this match, it was a visual treat. From the literal swinging around, I was like, my boy has a dislocated shoulder probably, to the, oh man, my boy's got a concussion being dragged across the wall. Just to see how he was trying to call either Adam's bluff or Adam was trying to call his bluff, and to see the moments where he really, I thought, honestly, our boy was going to the hospital, and I was like, man, that's going to be really unsatisfying with only one episode to go. There'll be no reason for Langa to even want to attempt it if our boy Reki ends up in the hospital. But to see him not do it as smoothly as someone like Langa, who was a snowboarder turned skateboarder, but still just all the little moments, and to see the difference of who the hell's that redhead? That redhead's not even competition. Why are we watching this? To saying, go redhead go, my name is Reki, and everyone is cheering Reki's name when he lost. The loser of this match had more of a fan base than the all-star Adam, because it almost felt it feels like Adam's popularity comes from a bit of fear and also thinking there's no one better than him. To see someone who no one knew the name of, and the people who know who he was, they didn't think he was that skilled at skateboarding. To see him, he was this close from beating Adam, and to make Adam look pathetic while being surrounded by very skilled skateboarders, to them, that probably shatters their worldview, understanding that one, Adam isn't indestructible, and the scummy shit that Adam does, his skateboard smash to hanging off of ceiling things, you don't have to fear that guy, nor do you have to respect someone who, when you have characters like Reki and Langa, Cherry, Joe, even Shadow, right? They deserve way more respect and praise, and I love how this show has really covered its tracks. And I think fans of Reki who want to see Reki shine, I mean, sure, there will probably be the response of, I wish he won, but thinking about where episode 12 can go now, I think is going to be a lot more interesting, because had Reki won, I feel like Adam would have pulled a gun, right? There's no other way around it. So to have, that final showdown with Langa and Adam, no matter what, it feels like Adam's going to jail, and most likely when he gets out of jail, hopefully he'll have like a true love for the board rather than, what he ended up becoming, where he thinks he's the only one, and his Eve, which he thinks is Langa, will be right there beside him. And it almost gave me a kind of like double Suicide Pact vibe. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who got that. The way he's talking about Adam and Eve, it almost feels like they're going to go out together. Some sort of love hug off the cliff. I don't know. There's still some threats there, but I felt like this episode was really, really well polished. It just felt so good to see the fun factor really carry on and to show, like, even if Reki is very different than these other characters, he is skillful. And when things happen, like, people not preparing their boards, because Reki can modify his board every single race, these other characters just stick to the board that they have, right? Maybe at most they change their wheels, right? But it's nice to see how his talent and his perception of the race actually allowed him to almost win. And honestly, had Adam not been doing cheap-ass tricks like love hugs or boards to the face, it wouldn't have been as one-sided. Sure, Adam still has more skill, but it wouldn't have been as like, oh my god, Reki has to tiptoe around his life because he can't end up dead. It probably would have been a very different race, and honestly, I'm so excited for episode 12 next week. I think SK8 has turned into, a cult classic sort of a situation where, there's a good handful of us watching in the first few episodes, but over the weeks it's really garnered more and more of a following. And I think over the coming years, SK8's going to be something that's looked back upon in very high regards, and I think rightfully so. Beautiful looking, soundtrack's killer, all the characters are interesting. Even Adam, he's a piece of shit, but goddamn, you wouldn't have him any other way. You need him in the show in order for it to have that drama factor. Same way you need to have someone like Shadow be a WWE villain. And honestly, I have to say, I think listening to every opening of all the anime that I watched this season, I honestly think SK8 had my favorite opening. I have to be 100% honest. Just every time you get that 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you just get that grooviness, there's no way you don't get basically out of your chair, or at least wanting to, jumping for joy and knowing you're gonna see some insanity. From the slice of life scenes and the way like just all the goofy faces go to that badass soundtrack or very intense soundtrack, it just always brings a giant grin to my face. And even though at first I was so off against Reki versus Adam because he had such a fear, I'm so happy to see the love that we had for skateboarding last week carry on to Reki's biggest fear not even crossing his mind, because he made a promise to Langa that he's gonna see it through to the end, and he absolutely did. I was proud of Reki, it's kind of like that Kaguya-sama meme where it's like, I raised that boy. Even though we didn't raise him, it kind of gave you that same appreciation where you're like, we watched him do great, struggle, fall flat on his face, pick himself back up, and honestly, it made you feel proud of Reki, and you felt like Langa. You're like, you're cheering him on, and you felt really good. And that's the type of stuff you want to see from a sports anime. Get you cheering on the characters like the spectators in the crowd, and they did a great job at that. The show's great, very excited to see how it all wraps up next week, and yeah, let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Thoughts on the episode, theories for next week, whatever you're feeling. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.